Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Regardless whether there's a bunch of experience coming back or not, I think it all depends on your seniors and how hungry they are and can they get the young guys to buy in. And I felt like we had a good offseason. Felt like, we were driven and guys worked hard.
Expectations were the same, but differences. Now they know they can do it. And the confidence that I've seen in these kids, not only on the field, but in the community and always, it's just exciting to see as long as they wore it to kind of break out. And now you can kind of tell they're growing up.
It means so much. I mean, we dreamed of playing high school football ever since we were little kids, and being able to actually do it and to go out there for the community and play our hearts out is just awesome.
At the 200, I could feel my legs starting to turn to jello. And I looked back to see where the girl was, and I saw she was coming, so I tried to speed up. And my legs just couldn't. They were just done, so I just collapsed because they felt like jello.
Bryson Barnes, lots of time, looking long, got a man out there, Money Parks, got 20, 15, 10, 5, that's a touchdown!
I think they showed depth. That's been one area that I think if you look at them these last couple of years, even though they've won the Pac-12 and went to back-to-back Rose Bowls, they would tell you, especially defensively, they just haven't had the manpower. So when they have these injuries, that drop from 1-2 to 3 has been significant. Now,
certainly hopeful for that. We have been in communication, and actually just the last 2 days, we've been in more communication. So going to continue to press on and work hard, and a lot of respect on both sides of this thing. And
And welcome in to Sports Day. Today is the little bit of technical difficulties there to get it started. Got our board turned on thanks to the incomparable Mike Hesher joining me in studio today, helped me get the board ready. Also in here going to be Mike Hesher, or Mike Corson, I should say. Goodness gracious. Technical difficulties, speaking difficulties. And I am your host today. I'm Aaron Clark, filling in for Steve Webster here on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Today, got a great show coming for you. We got the Sunflower Sports Solutions. Connor Nichols breaks down all the Friday night football action along with an update on the latest volleyball news. And if I can figure out how to work the phone, we'll get a little interview with Coach Pavlovich over in McPherson as he previews what we're going to see tonight in the Great Bend Panthers clash with McPherson. And then, of course, we'll have Friday sports headlines, all of that after these sounds of the past 24 hours. But fellas, how we doing today? Friday, game day?
3-day weekend?
Busy because it's that first night of high school football. There's a lot of technical issues we have to work through. So, yes, busy.
The whole day has been you and me trying to deal with technical issues.
Yes, it has.
So diving right on in to our sounds of the past 24 hours. Starting it off there, you heard from Hoisington head coach Zach Baird, talking about the experience that his team is going to bring back and what that can mean for their team this year. They're going to be squaring off with the Heston Swathers tonight at 6:30 over on 100.7 Eagle Country. Corson, Hoisington, Heston, we've talked about it. It's maybe not the most bitter rivalry as we've covered, but should be a good game. What are you expecting to see tonight?
Baird has proven that even when he loses a big class, he can rebuild. So the fact that he thinks he has experience back, it's like, uh-oh. And then Heston, they lose their quarterback. I worked with Coach Bowerly when he was at Sterling. Cool guy, and he's fiery, so I know he'll have Heston ready to go. But losing your quarterback's never fun, especially unexpectedly. So I think that'll be to Heston's detriment, and I like Hoisington's experience.
And Hesh, you frequent Hoisington as a member. What are the vibes around Hoisington football right now?
Well, I did talk to one of the coaches last night, and I did not realize that the two haven't played all that much, Hoisington and Heston, but Heston has won the ones. They've all been close games, but they're feeling good. I mean, they obviously like the presence of Tony Moore Jr., as we like to say.
He's a senior now. He's a senior.
Okay. I'm sorry. But Tony Moore, they got Hoffman up front and Speed in the backfield. So it'll be an interesting game tonight to see how, because Hoisington hasn't fared too well in openers recently.
And, I'm excited to see what they can do on their new turf. Talking about Caden Hoffman in Hoisington, Great Bend has a Caden Hoffman of their own. You got to hear from him. He was a guest on Sports Day yesterday. Had that great clip about what it means to play as a Panther. We also heard from Panthers head coach Aaron Beck talking about what his team, what he's seen from his team this summer and what he's expecting to see from. Corson, you going to be out at a game tonight?
I'll be down on the field. No place better than on a Friday night than Great Bend's Memorial Stadium. As many places as I go to cover football, that's my home.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty excited about the home court or home field advantage, getting an excellent press box seat, not have to be out in the elements. Great Bend takes care of their media guys.
So I don't know that you know that it's pretty toasty in there in these early season games when it's going to be 100 degrees at kickoff. Good luck. That's why I'm going down on the field.
You may find me up there in some shorts for my first Panthers football broadcast.
I was in Larned last week, but they were talking about how hot the field was, the turf was. So, I mean, you're experienced on the field. Is it that much different?
I've honestly never paid attention. I think I saw last week, and maybe it wasn't Kansas, but it was like 175 on some turf somewhere, and we weren't that far behind anybody else in the country, so I wonder what the turf in the heat of the day gets up to. We got dusk rolling in, so that'll help.
That will help.
I
yes.
definitely think the turf, like in that midday, kind of like where you're talking about the heat of the day, like around 3 o'clock in there, it is very noticeable. It even sometimes you can kind of smell the turf. Like if it gets that hot, you can kind of smell that rubbery kind of smell to it. But like you said, the first 2 weeks might be a little rough where we're getting a little hot. But after that, I'm expecting some cooler temperatures as we kick off Panther football games starting in week 3.
Well, I guess I've always smelled the burning turf as I run across it. It's just science.
Of course, you're just too fat. We'll have to wait and see what that official time comes in, and when you head to Oregon in the 42 and under sprint class.
42U.
Are you doing? Is it a sprint? Is it 800? Is that what you decided?
It is a 400. Could be a walk.
400.
So it's however
walk.
you can finish.
All right. Well, we'll have the sounds of that as soon as we can. Next up in our sounds of the past 24 hours, you heard from Mackenzie Premer. Premer doing something pretty cool this year, pretty unique in this fall season. Ran in that cross-country meet yesterday at Lake Barton, was able to secure 7th in her first cross-country race. Corson, tell me a little bit about what you saw at the cross-country meet.
Well, I was, especially during the regionals, as the importance picks up, you'll see kids cross the finish line, and yeah, they're breathing hard and whatnot, but it was like, a lot of these kids are dying as they cross the line. You left something out on the course. I don't think Premer left an ounce on the course yesterday. So I don't know enough about running to know if there's a smarter way to run that race or what, but she finished, and to her credit, she burned every bit of energy her body had. So you hate to see her lose places because 7th place, nothing wrong with that. She was still among the elite. There was a big drop in time after that. But in reality, she was running 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 4th, 5th, basically.
And don't want to pass over her cross-country achievements too quickly, but one of the interesting parts about Mackenzie Premer this year, doubling it up as a cross-country runner and a volleyball player. She then, after running that morning, went to Garden City last night as the Panther Lady volleyball team was able to sweep their opening WAC play against Garden City and Liberal, starting off the season with a strong 2-0 record. Excited to see what the Panther volleyball team has this year. A lot of seniors coming back. Should be pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't seen the stats, but did see some of the highlight videos. Numerous girls were hitting the ball on offense, several aces. So it's early enough in the season, and then those teams have kind of been good, especially Garden, for so long that you're wondering, well, is Great Bend that good, or are those teams a little down? Who knows? But to go out and start 2-0 in dominant fashion like that, there's nothing wrong with that.
I've heard some athletes do dual sports, but not those two. I mean, you've heard people play golf or something like that, which, isn't real strenuous. Obviously, I don't want to take anything away from golfers, but still, to do those two sports, that's amazing.
And that's what I was going to say. It's one thing to kind of, like you said, because I've heard of people doing cross-country and tennis. I think we've seen a couple athletes before we do those two. And I played tennis in the past. I love tennis because it's not necessarily the most physically exerting. You do kind of have to have some finesse. But like you said, Hesher, going and running a full cross-country race and then playing in a double-header volleyball competition that night, props to young Mackenzie Premer.
And not to take anything away from the other kids, too, Addie Nicholson 3rd, but Premer's fun to talk about. So afterwards, we didn't play that cut, but she said, I've never ran a 6-minute mile. So this was her first competition really above 800 meters. And so it's fun to see. That's a big stretch from 800 meters to 3.1 miles and at premier time. So it was an interesting showcase.
All right, and moving it right along in our sounds of the past 24 hours, you heard from Utah's game last night against Florida, future Big 12 member Utah, routing an SEC team 24-11 last night as they were able to take down the Florida Gators without their starting quarterback. Utah's Cam Rising sat out that game. Utah, I don't know if either of you fellas caught any of that game, actually used 2 different quarterbacks. They're like, all right, our starter's gone. We're not even just going to use one backup. We're using 2. That way they can have a little bit of a different offensive attack. And then we heard from Greg Mattich talking about the ACC wanting to avoid potentially the fate of the Pac-12 as they have agreed to the addition of the University of California, Stanford, and SMU. The Atlantic Coast Conference now extends to California.
Oh, good luck with that NCAA. It's
going to be something remarkable.
I think it's going to end up being 4 16-team leagues. And then you can break the 16 teams into 2 different conferences or 2 different divisions or whatever, and then you got 64 teams and you're good to go.
I think that could also potentially help with some of the college football playoff issues we've had. That could help with seeding. If you have 2 subdivisions in a conference, could help you give an automatic bid to whoever wins that, and then a good stock of other people to take the at-large bids.
But you talk about the rivalries. Oklahoma, Texas still going to be going in SEC, so you probably have the Red River shootout, but Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Bedlam, what is that, gone? KU, Missouri, gone. K-State, Nebraska, gone. Now that was just the local stuff, so now it's spreading across the country. They're taking so much away from the game, really. It's
tragic. We're losing all the great rivalries. But moving it on up to the NFL, our final sound of the past 24 hours, you heard from Chiefs GM Brett Veach. Says he's had a little bit more contact with Chris Jones the past couple of days. The two might be moving towards a deal, and they're hoping to have him on the field by week 1.
No way.
I don't think so either.
I mean, even if they signed it today, I mean, he's not going to be.
That's 6 days. That
exactly.
is 6 days until they play their first. Like, you're in week 1 at this point. If he's not on roster, he's probably not going to be there for that first game.
And even week 2 or 3, if he signed today, would be, breaking it. But he would be in for individual plays. He wouldn't be in for much.
All right, so that is all we'll have for our sounds of the past 24 hours. We're going to get right into our the bulk of it as we have an interview with Connor Nichols coming up. A reminder that Sports Day is brought to you by the American Plains Co-op Fuel Bulk Department, your certified Cenex lubricant dealer in Great Bend.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Barton Community College is excited to announce the expansion of the welding program with an Associate of Applied Science degree and a 2-semester certificate. With our expanded offerings, you'll gain knowledge in welding techniques, safety procedures, blueprint reading, and more. Get hands-on training from Barton faculty with industry experience, ensuring you develop the skills needed to excel in your career. Now enrolling. Learn more at welding.bartonccc.edu.
It's Friday, and that means game day in the Golden Belt. To help us prime the pump, Sports Day brings you Sunflower Sports Solutions, Connor Nichol.
Connor Nichol joins us right now on Sports Day. It's Friday. That means Connor time, and we've got plenty to talk about. Let's jump right into it, Connor. And first of all, your new venture, Sunflower Sports Solutions. Everybody's jumping on board. If you haven't subscribed to this, man, you just got to get in there if you want to know what's going on in high school sports. And advertisers are jumping on board, too. And I know, Connor, you would like to welcome a new sponsor to the S3 family.
Yeah, so BP Clean Right for Hayes, they supply cleaning services and a variety of services throughout northwest, central, and southwest Kansas. They've got their own personal kids. They're very involved in sports, and Clean Right is really excited about this. Starting next week, they will sponsor a both boy and girl athlete of the week, all sports season long.
Outstanding. So we'll look forward to that. And, welcome in BP Clean Right of Hayes and all over southwest Kansas. Okay, let's get right to it. And you're kind of focused this week. You're going to be in Hoisington tonight. Is that correct?
Correct. And this should be a very interesting matchup. Of course, I've got Hoisington number 1 and 2A, the K-Preps poll, which I vote in. They've got the number 4. And most people, of course, believe the top really 6 to 7 teams in 2A are very close. Again, I think this is the deepest class of all nine classes. You know, Hoisington has lost in week 1 the last 2 seasons and then has righted the ship both years. Of course, Heston has beaten Coach Baird twice. The famous playoff game in 16 and then the season opener last year. This is the only team, Heston is the only team Coach Baird has played more than once and not gotten a win against.
Wow.
So that'll be a very interesting thing tonight. Obviously, a little luster is left because the Heston quarterback, as we all know, is transferred to collegiate, but Heston should be very talented at multiple spots, particularly at receiver. Heston, of course, has always kind of been a thorn in Hoisington's side for some time. You look at volleyball as 4-14 in the last 18 meetings against the Swathers. Boys basketball 4-13. Girls basketball is 2-15. They did win their matchup last year. So if Hoisington on their new turf, a top 5 team, one of a lot of major 2A games tonight. The Hoisington's got a big test here to start things off.
What do you see as some key matchups tonight in this game that you're going to be looking for, Connor, when you are at Elton Brown Field tonight?
Yeah, so the major one, and this was something that Coach Baird and I had talked about this summer, is the 2 major things on defense that needed to improve were tackling. Coach Baird said we just got to get tougher and we have to tackle better. I mean, he said that multiple times. And, Chase Steinert, their great, corner type player, was their defensive vocal leader. Of course, he's no longer with them. Jason Robinson, who's obviously super athletic, was hurt a lot of them last year. So how Hoisington plays with the DB and pass coverage and tackling is something I'm going to keep my eye on a lot. You look at some of the games last year, particularly against Pratt, Hoisington struggled in pass defense. Their 3 biggest games of last season are probably their 3 best opponents, Pratt, Heston, and then their 2 playoff games against Russell and then Southeast. So really those 4 games. Hoisington allowed well over 300 yards per game. And in some of those games, I think even Southeast of Saline was up around 480, 490. So, Coach Baird really wants to see some improvement on that side against quality teams. So Hoisington's pass defense tonight will be something I'm going to really kind of check out.
Yeah, 2A is just going to be a fun classification to watch. And let's go, an area team just, they're kind of on the edge. But, hey, Ellsworth and Beloit tonight, and that's a big game. We're going to get because week 1, obviously, we're going to find out a lot about some teams. Ellsworth against Beloit. Big game.
Yeah, it's a really big game. You know, I've got Ellsworth currently 7th in 2A. I know some people have them as high as 2 or 3. Of course, Ellsworth won this game 14-6 last year. Beloit completed more passes to Ellsworth than to their own team in this game last season. Beloit was number 1 last year in 2A in run rate. They ran the ball 93% of the time, according to our S3 stats. And again, going off some stats that we have online, Beloit was at 6.8 yards per play last year. Ellsworth 6.2. Beloit ran the ball actually quite a bit better, but Ellsworth was plus 12 in turnover margin, and Beloit minus 1. Certainly Ellsworth brings everybody back, but Beloit brings a lot of really key people back up front. Certainly Grady Seifert gone, but they return a lot of really key pieces. Beloit's 10-4 at home in the last 2 years. I have picked 5 upsets online for S3 that came out this morning, and I've got Beloit pulling the upset here.
Okay, I'm going to go against you on this one then. Okay.
Sounds good.
Well, I saw Ellsworth at the Jamboree, and the thing that they're going to have going for them, in my opinion, Connor, is that all that offense is back. A lot of it is RPO. They had their whole offense in, more than anyone else. I think, and meeting Beloit in week 1, this is going to be an advantage for Ellsworth. So I'll go against you. You can give me a hard time next week, or maybe I'll jab you a little bit too. But that's going to be fun, Ellsworth and Beloit. Tell me, Russell, everybody says, well, they had that unbelievable year last year. There's no way they can duplicate that this year. What do you think?
No, I really like Russell a lot. And that was, one thing I wanted to kind of do this year is, look at 5 or 6 potential upsets each week. And Russell, I consider, but I do think Russell wins relatively convincingly tonight. They face an Ellis team who has a nice quarterback, has a 6'3", 6'4" tight end, and has a really good slot receiver, Mason Younger, who of course had won a state title in wrestling. But Russell returns their entire line except for one starter. Mason Rohr, who coaches Orez and I, when we talk to somebody, is really high on. Rohr was their ace in baseball, just a great arm and can really, really fling it. I do think that against powerful, run-heavy teams, Russell's, that's going to be maybe something they're going to have to work through. But they do have Roman Hernandez up front as well. He is extremely rangy. He was top 5 all classes in tackles for loss last year. 6'3", 6'4", 190, just a matchup nightmare. So he creates a lot of problems. And something that Coach Barrett had said, too, I didn't even ask this. Honestly, Coach Barrett brought it up on his own. He goes, as we as opposing coaches examined Russell as last year went along, and we're like, okay, they're just kind of playing. But, once midseason hit last year, they really turned things on. Russell finished 4-2 with 2 one-score losses, the close Hoisington playoff loss, and, of course, they lost to Ellsworth by 3. Culture is extremely high over there right now, and people are just excited. And it's been a long time that people have been this excited about Russell in the fall.
Yeah, in fact, it's probably the first time a lot of people in their lives have been that excited. I mean, it has certainly been a while. Let's talk another matchup tonight. TMP taking on Oakley. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a huge game. So I have noted 6 games on the S3 story that ran this morning of really pivotal games that the winner of this game really feels like, okay, they are moving in the right direction. Oakley won this matchup 25-13 in 2020. TMP 31-13 and 26-13 wins the last 2 years. I expect this game to be very similar scoring. Oakley returned 7 or 8 sophomores who all saw playing time last year. They won 6 games. Of course, TMP, not a whole lot of offense last year. They were bottom 2 in 2A in passing last year, but they were top 10 in scoring defense. TMP the last 3 years in 2A, 9th, 6th, 9th in scoring defense in 2A, and they returned 2 4-year linemen. This is a very good defensive team, and then they hire Grant Stevenson, an offensive-minded coach. And here's the note. When Stevenson coached at Plainville the last 8 years, the year before he took over, Plainville averaged 19 points a game. In Stevenson's first year, they averaged 29 points per game. So if TMP can even make a somewhat of a jump offensively with that defense, again, I've said this for a while now, potential breakout team in 2A is TMP.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting at the Jamboree last week, too, when TMP went against Plainville. That was that was fun. 12 plays against each other. Okay. All right. There are so many huge things. Where do you want to go? I mean, I like this 35,000-foot view. Where will 2A look after Friday night? Give me the Cliff Notes version.
To me, when we've got, week 1, we've got probably 40 to 45 really big games. But I really try and call this into, okay, what is the biggest takeaway entering tonight? And to me, it's how will 2A look after tonight? And, we are going to quickly just run through these. You got Hoisington, Heston, Kingman, ranked number 3 in 2A, plays 3A number 2, Cheney.
Wow.
Sabessa gets Perry Lecompton week 1, Holton week 2. Nemaha Central, defending state champion, gets rival Holton in week 1. Rossville plays defending 1A champion St. Mary's. Rossville 5-5 last year. I think they're going to be really good. Silver Lake, a big contest tonight. Ellsworth Beloit, we've already spoken on. Russell, we've already talked about. Southeast of Saline, with several guys back, all of those starters, gets Rock Creek. And this was a very close game last year. Rock Creek led 3A in passing. Norton gets Plainville, and then TMP's big game as well. And also from last night, there were a couple of Thursday night games. Garden Plain beat rival Conway Springs, a top 5 1A team. Garden Plain right now is outside of the top 10 in 2A, but that will likely change for next week. So 2A, I think right now, the spotlight is really on them more than any other class entering this season.
Yeah, and Garden Plain is a team that that was a heck of a game last year in that Week 9 matchup. In the first game of the bracket was, the game with Ellsworth, and they went to Ellsworth and picked up a victory there. Quick thoughts on McPherson, Great Bend tonight. There's a juicy one for you in 5A.
Oh, yeah, and the big thing, I talked with somebody very close to the Great Bend program yesterday, actually, and they said, Great Bend's new quarterback, this is a guy who's played quarterback for a long time. He was extremely athletic. He was extremely gifted. He was really high on him, the guy who I was talking to. You've got, obviously, Great Bend sophomore class. If Great Bend wins tonight, I think it completely reshapes what Great Bend could be this season. I really, really do.
Yeah, I agree. And then you've got the Hayes matchup coming up next week. We're going to take a break with Connor Nickel here. It's Sports Day. Connor Nickel with Sunflower Sports Solutions S3. And our program brought to you in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend and Equity Bank. When you need us, bank local, save big with in-person banking and business banking. Visit equitybank.com for more information. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. More with Connor Nickel coming up right after this.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
At NextTech Wireless, it's wireless on your terms. You pick a 36, 24, or 18-month agreement and get a device on us like the iPhone 14 or the new Google Pixel 7. Stuck in a contract with your current provider? Switch now and get up to $1,000 per line. For more details, stop by your nearest NextTech Wireless location today or call or text our customer care team at 877-621-2600. NextTech Wireless, home on the range.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like A-STEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows A-STEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Connor Nickel with us here on Sports Day, Sunflower Sports Solutions. Big new sponsor, BP Clean Right of Hayes. Okay, you always like to pick big upsets. I already went against you on one of them. So we'll see who's going to be right. That was the Beloit Ellsworth. I've got Ellsworth. You got Beloit, who's playing at home tonight. Some of your other upsets to watch tonight.
Certainly. So one of them we've already talked about is Holton in 3A will face the defending 2A champs. You know, Holton, Brooks Barta has been there for a long time, of course, tremendous success. Holton is 3-6 in its last 9 Week 1 games. But those 6 losses are by a combined 38 points. I think Holton, who is a slight underdog tonight, I picked them to pull the upset and against the Thunder, who won 2A last year. Baser Linwood and Tonganoxie in 4A. Baser won this matchup last year. Tonganoxie has, I think, the state's best kicker, Jackson McWilliams. Who 1 year, I think it was like 2 years ago, did not miss a kick the entire year. I think last year he missed 2. So he is an amazing kicker. I think Tongi in 4A could be a very interesting team. Parsons and Prairie View. Parsons is actually significantly favored in this game by most people, but I think that Prairie View, which righted the ship after this loss last year, returns a bunch of people. They're a run-heavy team. Parsons generally has struggled against that. I think at Prairie View in southeast Kansas pulls the upset there. And then one more Western is Meade, number 4 in 8-man Division 1. Coldwater South Central, really intriguing team, dual threat quarterback, 8-man Division 2 team that will face some Golden Belt area teams like Kinsley as the season moves along. I think South Central could be a name to know. Just like on College Game Day, Steve-O, I've got one super dog.
Okay.
And that is Kinsley. Kinsley, Victoria is definitely favored. But I think that people will wake up tomorrow morning and say, wow, that Kinsley-Victoria score was closer than I thought. I think Kinsley, this is going to be their best team in 30 years. Could they pull the upset tonight? Will it shock Kansas big time? Yes, but I think more importantly, after Kinsley having multiple key injuries in this game last year, could play the Knights in a very close competitive contest.
My goodness, we've got a big listener up there. I mean, he's probably the walls of the old abandoned Emron Church are shaking right now with those comments. Okay. And Victoria's number 3, in the K-Preps poll this week. Mm-hmm. Okay, give us a quick update on volleyball and what have you seen the first couple of weeks here during the volleyball season, Connor?
Yes, Hoisington. I mean, we talked about them a couple days ago. You know, they've been off to a great start. You know, Ellie Crawford, 35 even assists, all of those hitters back, you know, with Jordan Boxberger among those. But I had a Smoky Valley player. Actually, she sent me a message. I've gotten to know her and her family really well. She was like, we didn't know Hoisington had such a good freshman.
Yeah.
And they were shocked. And they said, well, I've written about her. And so, you know, Sophia Semick, of course, has come on in. I got a little banged up the other night, but, you know, the Hoisington did so well at the preseason league tournament, already 22 kills, 312 hitting. I believe Hoisington is 5-2 right now. But a lot of excitement there. And then last Saturday, I went out to KC, and I'm going to really promote this around that people should really do this. So St. James Academy, they do this 8 matches in one day, 16 teams. Every team gets one match. So you play like at 8, 10, 12, 2, and, you know, so on and so forth. And it was awesome because a fan or somebody got to see all of these great teams. So you pick the central location. Everybody's within about 45 minutes of St. James. It was a great day for volleyball. 25 Division I players in the day. The biggest takeaway, Blue Valley West. Crazy story here. Blue Valley West. They'll probably be number 1 in 6A. The setter is committed to Tulane. Great player. Hurts her knee in pregame, can't play. So what does Blue Valley West do? They bring in their freshman setter, who 3 weeks ago was set for the 14U National Club Championship team. She stepped in, and Blue Valley West won. That's how much talent some of these KC area teams have.
And a good couple match victories for Great Bend yesterday against Dodge City and Liberal. Really no problem sweeping them 2-0, so keep an eye on the Great Bend Lady Panthers as well. Connor, enjoy Hoiston tonight. I want to see you. I'm going to ask Cole Reif if you get up when they start doing Sweet Caroline. I want to see you out there belting it out in the stands with the students, okay?
Fantastic.
Okay.
I'll be there.
All right, Connor Nickel with S3 Sunflower Sports Solutions, presented by BP Cleanright of Hayes. And you can find his work. Connor, how can people sign up and become a subscriber?
Yes, I think we're over 115 subscribers here in about 2.5 weeks. The number keeps on growing. SunflowerSportsSolutions.com.
Connor, enjoy Hoisington tonight, and it's the big Labor Day celebration. Go ahead and get you some food early. Man, it's going to be awesome over there tonight. That place is going to be jumping. You have a good time. Drive safe. We'll talk to you next week, my friend.
Steve-O, as always, thanks so much.
Okay, Connor Nickel joining us here on Sports Day. That's brought to you in part by Eller Automotive Repair, a local mechanic that can help behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, and also Venture Corporation, reminding you to help a neighbor and shop local when you can. Sports Day continues after the
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
Get the power you need for your farm equipment. The power of peace of mind that dependable Cenex lubricants deliver. With decades of proven off-road performance, backed by the industry-leading Cenex Total Protection Plan warranty. Cenex heavy-duty diesel engine oils, hydraulic fluids, gear lubricants, and greases are formulated to provide superior protection for load-bearing equipment. The power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Zach Strite, commercial lender for Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Barton Community College helped me get a jump start on college with early college opportunities. With Barton's help, I earned my degree at the same time I graduated from high school. You can take classes on campus, online, and even at your high school with teachers you already know. With tuition rates starting at $50 per credit hour for select Kansas high school audiences and scholarship opportunities, it is easier than ever. Barton Community College helped me get one step closer to my dream, and it can help you too. Learn more at highschool.bartonccc.edu.
And welcome back into Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. I am Aaron Clark, sitting down here with head coach of the McPherson Bullpups, Jace Pavlovich. Coach, we're going to go ahead and just get right into the football today. Recently, the Shrine Bowl announced their head coaches. You've been tabbed to lead the West squad this year. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's I was able to be the defensive coordinator last year, and I've always wanted to be a part of that game, whether it's a player or as a coach, and finally got the opportunity last summer, and I'm just really honored and privileged to be such a small part of a great game and an amazing cause.
And so obviously getting a team to come together in 1 week and play as a unit got to be a tough challenge. Can you talk to me a little bit about that week of practice leading up to the game?
Yeah, we have 8 days of 3-a-days in terms of practice. We stay in the dorms together, and it's really it's a great experience. When you're working hard together, it's no different than a high school football team. These guys gelled pretty quickly last summer, and it is a credit to Coach Crow to Hayes and everything that he did in team building activities. But it's one of those things. Our guys from this summer on the west side, they're still in contact with each other. They're still getting together and meeting in Wichita every now and then. And Coach Henry from Clay Center, he summed it up best. The Sunday morning when we were leaving after the Saturday night game, we kind of all just he said, I felt empty. I felt like we should get together, and that's exactly the feeling you want after a real special week like that.
Sure. And so how does it impact your coaching your own team over the summer? You take a week out of, I believe it'll be in June. You take a week away from your own squad. How does that impact your off-season training?
Yeah, that's tough, and that's a big part of it. But I have great assistants, and we have great kids, and they're disciplined, and they have great work ethic, and they understand that I'm gone for a good reason. And like I said, my assistants, they're all awesome. They could be head coaches at any program in the state of Kansas as well, and so they take the reins, and we really don't skip a beat.
And so talking about some of those great kids, great coaches, we'll move over to looking at your McPherson Bullpup squad that you got coming up this year. Last year, coming off a 10-2 record. Tell me a little bit about last year and what you saw from last year's squad. Just a brief recap.
Well, last year, I guess it goes back to 2 years before that. We were incredibly talented and probably as talented as we've ever been. And we ended up going 7-3 and knocked out of the playoffs early. And that was a big part of we had a poor culture, and ultimately that's my fault and my responsibility. And so we've really emphasized last summer, really emphasized getting together as a team and being able to handle adversity as a team and as a collective unit. And I felt like our guys got that done last year. And we had a special senior class last year. We lost 23 seniors. So, going into this year, we know that we lost some real big pieces, but like the guys we got coming back.
And so obviously culture, such a huge part of any squad trying to move forward. Can you tell me a little bit about what goes into building a culture like you have at McPherson?
Well, it's a process. We complain about kids not being natural leaders, and at the same time, we don't teach them how to lead. And so we've really made a special emphasis. We have a coach on staff. He's my offensive coordinator. He actually was a professional educational leadership teacher at Fort Hays State, and now he's brought that to us here in McPherson. And Coach Montgomery's done a great job in terms of the off season and helping kids out and helping them lead, and that works wonders. But in today's day and age, it's really difficult to get kids to commit. It's really difficult to get them to overcome tough situations, and we've put an emphasis on that, and I do think it's helped. But we have some tremendous parents too who support what we're doing, and I feel like we're all pulling on the same end of the rope as a result of this.
And clearly, talking about some leaders that you have on the team and how big of a part leadership can play for a team, who are some of the leaders you're looking forward to leading your squad this year?
Oh, we got some fantastic seniors. Jay Shriner's he's a kid that's just super talented and not real vocal, but leads by example. And Javin Alexander's another one that he's become more vocal, and he's grown up a lot, and he's incredibly talented. So automatically, kids give him street credit as a result of his super talent. But he's also become a leader for us. Tegan Haynes, whenever Tegan says something, kids jump to it. He's been incredible for us. He was on our leadership committee as well. We got Alex Wheat, who he'll be a 2-year starter for us. He's another one. We got so many of them. That it's just hard to mention all of them because they've all taken that positive leadership role, and kids have bought in.
And so taking a look at just a couple of those names that you mentioned, Tegan Haynes and Javin Alexander, looking to be potentially one of the better linebacking cores in the state. Can you tell me a little bit about the chemistry that those two have together?
Oh, yeah. Those guys, they've been playing together for a while now. And you look at our other linebacker position, we're going to fill that with Brock Richardson, who's going to be a junior. And those three guys we feel really good about. I mean, we've got guys that are backups that would have started for us, pretty much every year, looking across the board. So we got incredible depth at that position, and these guys can run, they can hit, they're smart, and it's exactly what you're looking for out of a linebacking core.
And so kind of shifting attention to the other side of the ball, replacing quarterback Hunter Alvord this year, it looks like you're rolling with senior Owen Fetch. What can you tell me about young Mr. Fetch?
Well, he's also a great leader. He's got big shoes to fill, and Hunter felt that a little bit. He was a 2-year starter for us, and obviously Hunter's a great athlete, tough kid, and everything you want in a football player. But there were some growing pains there with Hunter. And, you look at it, and the worst quarterback that we have had in my 18 years here, statistically speaking, the worst is he ended up playing at West Point. So
can't be too bad of a player then, right?
Yeah, that's his name was Colin Walk, and that was, I think it was in 2007. So, we have great tradition at that position, and these guys feel it. The thing that Owen's got to remember is he's earned the position. He's a fantastic player. We have full faith in him and his abilities, and he's a kid that didn't even play in junior high football and came out as a freshman, gave it a shot, and he has really taken off. And I feel like he has won the position because we have a junior nipping at his heels, Carter Allen, that's done an incredible job too. So we feel good about our quarterback position. We always have had really good quarterbacks here at McPherson, and we, there'll be some growing pains, I'm sure, just the same as every other team, but we're excited about it.
All right, so Coach, just winding it down here, tell me a little bit, what are you expecting to see not only from your own squad this Friday, but from the Great Bend High Panthers coming up?
Well, Coach Beck does a great job with those guys, and they've had a couple rough years, and last year turned things around. I think that there's going to be a lot of excitement, as there should be. They've got a lot of great players on that side, and we look forward to a great game. But I think it's just going to end up, kind of coming down to who makes the fewest mistakes. And, we looked at it as a staff, and over the 18 years I've been here, when we have 10 or less unforced penalties such as, false starts and things of that nature, and if we have less than one turnover or less, we win 95% of those games. So really, I think it's just going to come down to who plays a cleaner game and who doesn't beat themselves, because both teams, I would say, are evenly matched. Both teams have some great players. So it all depends on how we or Great Bend executes their own stuff. So it's one of those things that you just never know when you come into the game, especially week one. And we see the biggest growth usually comes from week 1 to week 2. throughout the season. So we'll make mistakes. They'll make mistakes. I think whoever makes fewer mistakes will end up winning this game.
And, I've talked to Coach Beck a pretty good amount. He feels a lot the same. That is head coach of the McPherson Bullpups, Jace Pavlovich. Coach, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys make it happen.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Sarah wants a yard. My own little paradise. Brad, however, hates yard work.
The only thing I hate more than cutting the grass is paying someone to cut the grass.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Sarah and Brad found a great home with a yard. A very, very small yard.
Time to get it done. And I'm done.
Bundling without compromise at geico.com.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back into 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. As we are just getting ready to wrap up Sports Day, would like to remind you that Sports Day today is brought to you in part by Next Tech Wireless. Experience wireless built by Kansans for Kansans, and by Advanced Therapy and Sports Medicine. Get your life back. Hesh, almost to the end of a show. We didn't quite run it to exactly according to plan. We kind of forgot to do the Friday sports headlines. So we're going to go ahead and cover that at the end of the show now as we have a little bit of time.
Well, as we always said, Webby's not here, so we don't have to play by Webby's rules.
When the cat's away, the mice will play.
Exactly.
That is us. I have been often compared to a mouse, So starting it out, leading off with the headlines, Larned football looks to enter a new era on a new field with a new coach tonight as they'll be taking on the Pratt Greenbacks. Excited to see what Larned football has in store. Obviously haven't had the most success the past couple of years, but Hesh, you got to go up there and check out their new field as the referee water boy at the Jamboree last Friday. What did you think of Larned football?
Earl Roberts Field looked pretty good. I used to work there a long time ago. The field looked good. The lights looked good. Larned did not have a lot of success, but their first time out, their first 12 plays were against Ellsworth, and we know Ellsworth is pretty good, so Larned struggled a little bit against Ellsworth. They looked better against TMP. It will be interesting to see how they do against Pratt, because Pratt's usually pretty good, right?
Of course.
So, but he's a new first-year coach, and give him a little bit of time. As Pavlach, your coach from McPherson, said, most improvement will become between week 1 and week 2.
And like you said, I don't want to harp on it too much because I feel like me and Webby have spent a little bit of time. But that Ellsworth, they have a 4-year starting quarterback there. They have so much in their offense already before week 1 that trying to compare a new team with a new coach, trying to stop that in Larned, a little bit unfair. But I'm excited to see what Larned High has on the gridiron this season.
They deserve a good team here,
They really do. It'd be Great Bend's been kind of on the upswing last year. This is the year for Larned.
Okay, all right.
And moving on to KU. KU playing tonight, even though it is the home for high school football tonight. They decided to start their season. Oh, by the way, you can catch Larned over on Hits 106.9 at 6:30 with Gary Wagner and Buddy Taylor, your dynamic duo from the booth there. But KU football going to be broadcast right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM with coverage beginning at 6:30 as they'll be taking on Missouri State. And you talked about Hoisington kind of dropping the ball in some openers recently. KU, no stranger to week 1 upsets. We'll be looking for the Jayhawks to be able to handle the FCS Missouri State squad. However, could be on upset. I don't think they will. KU football pretty good. They return, I believe, something like 91% of their offensive production from last year.
Have they decided the quarterback? Is he going to play or not?
I believe I saw Jalen Daniels has been listed as the starter.
Has he really? Okay.
Yeah, obviously suffered a shoulder injury last football season, and then this spring, a back injury actually kept him out of camp. Very excited to see what the Jayhawks football season has. Off to a 5-0 start last year before Jalen Daniels gets injured. And then they also had to play TCU that week. Not exactly an easy team to face, trying to keep a win streak rolling.
It'll be interesting to see what KU does, because that last year was kind of out of nowhere from as far as I was concerned, to see if they can keep things improving.
And year 3 under Chris Kleiman should be a good one. And moving over to some Barton sports, as Barton men and women's golf teams found their rhythm early as the boys came in second at the second annual Fall Heston kickoff, while the women's team was able to cruise to an 89-stroke victory with 4 of the top 5 finishers, including all 3 of the top 3. Barton sports, pretty strong right now, I'd say. Both soccer teams doing very well. Volleyball off to an 8-1 start, I believe. And now both the golf teams handling business.
Well, as Trevor Ross was in earlier, he talked about it. They have so many programs that are national level quality. It's amazing that it's happening in Great Bend, Kansas. But, Great Bend's Barton's always had good Olympic sports.
That's what I was going to say.
Going back to volleyball, and then, of course, Jerry Mullen had some pretty good basketball teams in the day.
And the track teams, the track athletes that we've had has just been incredible out at Barton. And last thing here, just to give you a bit of a preview of what I'm going to be doing this weekend as we look at the college football matches scheduled to start over the weekend. Of course, tonight we have Missouri State at KU. That's starting at 6:30 right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Then we get to Coach Prime's debut against that TCU squad. TCU coming off of losing Max Duggan and Quentin Johnston, along with Tre'Davious Hodges-Tomlinson on defense. 3 players who were huge contributors in getting them to the college football playoff final. Gone now. Going to look for TCU to replace them. Also, Arkansas State at Oklahoma. We were just talking former Hayes High standout Jaron Kanak, the starting linebacker for the Sooners this year, saw action in all 13 games last year, whether in a backup role or on special teams. And then a big story in the Big 12 I'm looking forward to this year, Texas. They're hosting Rice tonight. Shouldn't be that big of an upset, I don't believe. I think Texas will handle business. However, I'm curious to see how Quinn Ewers, their quarterback, very highly touted prospect, transferred in from Ohio State a couple years ago, how he does with Arch Manning sitting in the wings. I'd be very interested to see if Quinn Ewers is on a bit of a shorter leash. Last year we saw him be a little undisciplined with the ball. Maybe with a Manning prodigy sitting behind him, he shapes up a little bit.
That will be an interesting situation. If he struggles at all, how soon they make the decision. But I'm really interested to see what CU is doing under Deion Sanders. That's going to be crazy.
Coach Prime, he's revamped the entire roster.
68 new players or something? That's crazy.
And it's not just nobodies, though, too, because he brought players from his Jackson State, Florida
his son, for one.
Shedeur Sanders, a very good quarterback prospect. The biggest question around him is whether or not he can translate his game to the D1 Big 12 level. And then, obviously, Hunter Turner, one of the best young cornerbacks in the nation. Was he the #1 prospect when he came out a few years ago? Very talented defensive back there. Plenty of football to watch this weekend.
Nobody doubts that Deion Sanders can recruit.
That's the one thing he's got going for him.
Yes, he does.
So, Hesh, we are just about out of time as they can hear it wrapping up. What are your biggest game you're looking for? I guess you already said Colorado there.
That would be one of them. I'm obviously going to, if things work out well here with four stations going at the same time with different games, hopefully I can make the Hoisington-Heston game.
There we go. We'll be happy to hear how that went from you on Monday back here on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
How about Tuesday? We're off on Monday.
There we go. Back on Tuesday. Thanks for listening.
Agriculture Today on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM is brought to you by the American Plains Co-op.